Good evening, everybody. So
is everybody happy?
It's been a long day. There's some super panelists here that have done at least 2 panels, maybe 3 today, and I moderated far too many.
Why?
We are going to have a discussion about label A&R, and label management and label strategy, which could go anywhere, given I know who's next to me. And we're all quite relaxed now, I think. We're good? I'm not going to introduce myself, but if I could ask everyone to the left of me to introduce themselves and their label, and importantly, the genre of music or style of music that their label represents, please.
I'm Christian Smith. I run TRONIC. Style of music, mostly techno. Anything between house and techno.
Renat, RNS, anything between house and techno.
Liar.
Liar! I'm not lying. Rock and roll.
Sorry. Shall I? Okay. Roland Leska, Get Physical Music. We do everything we love.
DJ Zombie, Beat Boutique Records, Deep Progressive House.
So we're going to take, I think, some time at the first half of the panel just to talk about the history of the label, how the label is organised, and then what I'd like to do is then flip it into how do you find music, and what are your recommendations to producers, and how to submit demos, and how to access you, and how you look at music and how you sign it. Christian, do you just want to talk first about the history of TRONIC? I know you did a little bit earlier, but where it came from, what it stands for, and how it's structured.
Well, to make a long story short, I started the label in 1994 while I was at university. I did it just as a hobby. It was not. I never planned the label to grow into like a business. It was an outlet for me to release the music that other labels didn't want to release. So I started there in 1994. I did a few releases here and there, very sporadic, nothing really professional. I think I did like 30 releases in 10 years, which is these days close to nothing. And then in 2008, I started it up really professional again with a label manager. That was, 10 years ago now. And I started 1 release a month, then 2 releases a month, and the hardest part is keeping up the quality, really. You know, it's like, but at the end of the day, you get sent so many demos. There is a lot of good material out there. And now I've had it for 10 years, and the label is, I'm very happy with it. I have a label manager that works full-time. Without her, I couldn't run the label at all, because I basically just choose the music, and she does most of the administrative work, scheduling, mastering, getting the artwork in time, delivering to the distributors. And and my wife does all the financial stuff, paying all the artists. So it's a small team, but it seems to work. I'm very happy with the label. We do label parties as well, and it's definitely how should I say, labor of love, because for me, I don't really make much money in this industry. I make my money through the gigs, but I still love what I do. I spend a lot of time on the label every day. But it's good fun.
Renat, RNS.
Yes.
How old? What's your focus? How is it organised?
It's not organised. It's total chaos.
But you do have a label manager.
I have a label manager. He's the only one who's working.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's a family thing. It's Sabine, myself, a label manager, 3 scouts. Yeah. And the rest we outsource, as we probably all did.
How often do you release?
I think it's going to be a busy year, but last year was about, 6 EPs and 3 albums. But now we have more, because some artists are coming with their new EPs, albums, so now we're full till, 2019 nearly.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
it's going to be a busy year.
Roland, Get Physical. A machine.
What's the question?
How is it organised? How many people have you got? How many releases? How old is the company?
It is 16 years old now. We have 7 people which are fully employed. We have about another 10 freelance A&Rs and partners all over the world, or I'm trying to expand that. I'm doing it in Africa, in the United States, in Brazil, in UK, Canada, and I'm looking into India right now, and I would love to go into Asia and this place here as well, of course. So that's more or less the structure. We release one single a week. We release at least 10 to 12 compilations or albums a year. We have 3 sub-labels which do like another 2 to 4 singles a month and let's say another 10 to 20 albums a year. Then we are label managing different labels where we are only providing the power of my team, but the A&Ring, everything else is done by the individual artist and label owners. And that's a model we are strongly building on. We are doing a publishing company as well, of course, with a big company in the back of us to support us with the administrative work. And we used to run a booking agency as well, but we sold that one to the booking agent, so he owns it now 100%. But he's still like for our main core artist is like the agent, which is very helpful because it's like a family thing. Yeah, and that's about it.
And finally,
Beat Boutique. So it's quite a new label. It exists for 3 years. We have a 3 years anniversary this Saturday with Christian playing there. It's my 5th label actually in my life. Before I sold to some concert abroad. And this one I made to the rest of my life, like 50, 60 years ahead. That's what I'm thinking. So I started from really nothing, not using my connections, nothing, just really growing it in a natural way. It's actually working quite nice. This year, right now, we're standing like a 12 progressive house label in the world by Beatstats, blah, 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 which is not bad for a new label. Yeah. We release music from Dinox, Thron Flutter, blah, 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 many nice names. So, don't have employees at all. A few activists who help us a lot with media, with some technological things, which I'm not really good in that. And I'm really happy to do it, because it's like a hobby / business / fun / blah, blah, blah. It's all connected.
yeah.
We have a showcase every weekend in Tel Aviv, in the best locations in the city, as block, as slippers, as bootleg, as whatever, because I'm making parties in the city for 20 years. So, I have connection to any venue. That's it. That's what we do. We're having some fun.
Brilliant.
Finally,
Finally.
like a real fun.
I think what I'd like to do is just to take a step through each stage of a step of operation for a label and see the differences and similarities between all of you. So we're going to take a walk through how you A&R to how people can get signed, how you deliver the music to the world, and also how you promote it and the different ways in which you use promo and PR, because I think there's quite a lot of different routes and a lot of it's changing quite a bit. So, Christian, if I can come to you first, how do you A&R? How do you select music? And how should people package their music to you?
Well, to be totally honest, I get around 100 to 150 demos a week. And until a few months ago, I listened to maybe 3, 5. I ignored most of it. I was horrible. I was really, really bad A&R. The way people got signed music to me was if they're personal friends whose music I have released before. However, I've changed that structure just a few months ago, where I told my label manager, hey, please, you collect all the demos for me and put them in one Dropbox, and I download every Dropbox every Monday, and I listen to everything. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. I don't think any of you guys like doing that. You like going through rubbish demos? Because let's face it, most of the demos are bad. it's
You need a pick to go into the forest to find the truffle. I mean, yes, of course, it's going to be a lot of shit. So, sorry?
You need a pick to find a truffle.
No, hold on. I am the pick. Because I wanted to change my name in DJ Truffelswine. Really? But I mean, do you remember?
I'm still struck. I'm sorry. The panel is over.
I told you. I said, like, we're going to change the name in Truffelswine. And you said, no. So anyway, you have to go through a lot of things to find something good. And I enjoy it.
Well, it's true. We have to look for the diamond in the rough, I should say. But yeah, I go through every Monday. I go through around 100, 150 demos. I end up signing every 2 to 3 weeks, 1 or 2 tracks, and it's a tiring process, but it needs to be done. I need to put in my part of the job, and I think this is the only way for the label to keep a high quality and its sound by me being involved and involving my identity, you know, because lots of labels change A&Rs, and the labels, in my opinion, they really lose identity once they change A&Rs, and this is something, you know, that at all costs I want to avoid, so I don't mind putting a little bit more time. So anyways, once I sign a track, the artist gets a contract, we sign it, we release it, we master it, and we release it normally with 2 months of promo time. It goes out to I think our mailing list is around 200 DJs. And I personally have a PR agent for myself, which promotes all of my personal releases and productions. And for bigger projects, such as albums, we hire the same PR agent because she's amazing, and I'm very happy with her. But I can't afford to hire a separate PR campaign for each release because it's just financially not sustainable anymore. You know, unless you know you're gonna have a big hit. But these days, there's no such thing as a sure shot. You know, there's been many situations where I thought, okay, this is gonna be huge, and it didn't do anything. You know, I love it and I'm happy with it, and that's fine. But like, just commercially speaking, there's no such thing as a sure shot.
When you listen to a demo, there's a label that will remain nameless that goes 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, yes, no. How do you listen to a demo to decide if you sign it?
I'm also very fast. I can identify if something is good really fast. It's just like if you're in a record shop and you put the needle on the record, you go like this, boom, boom, boom. I'm a DJ, so I can. And often, let's say if I like something and the productions are good enough, I go back to the producer and I tell him, hey, you need to adjust the kick drum, or I want you to change the arrangement a little bit, just to help the overall production. And I never do that to insult the artist. And most of the time, they take my criticism on board in a positive way. And that's pretty much my selection process.
Renard, I feel like we might have an opposing style of selection. How do you select music for R&S?
Very simple. Extremely simple, because all those tracks, they start with boom, zack, gone. Direct. I mean, bye-bye, fuck off. You know, no, it's true.
Yeah.
You know, when the track starts, that I've heard already a billion times, it's gone. I don't care how good it is.
So how should it start?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Something that takes my attention.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you have my secret.
And that's that.
And
do you listen all the way, or do you know? Do you switch off quick or stay on?
No. I try to, because you have to be careful. And although we all say, which is true, you go into a routine. We all listen to music many years, so you think you know, but you would be surprised. And sometimes you have to go through track completely to understand where it's going.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to listen to everything, but then again, I have nothing else to do. So
fair. I'm rolling up, guys. I'm starting to think I might find some middle ground in the A&R process. But what's your philosophy for A&R? How do you do it? How many do you get? When do you listen to them? How much of the track?
Well, we are German. It's very organized.
Is it 9:15 to 9:25 on a Tuesday?
No, it works in a different way. I trust a team of artists and A&Rs and friends all over the world who recommend things to us.
Yeah.
We don't listen to demos which are sent to us at all. But if somebody's like really getting into us in a nice way, or we learn to know him on a place like this, and then we start getting friends, we know the person a little bit more on a personal level, Otherwise, we don't listen to demos. We would, just sit there the whole day and it would be useless. So what we try to do is, like, everybody who's working for us is an A&R. That's our philosophy. If he or she isn't it yet, we try to give him or her the chance to develop like that. So every Tuesday we sit together in a studio, not in the office, just listen to music. We have a structure, of course, what we're working on, but then everybody has the obligation to bring one more tune, whatever it is, just to listen to. And then if you summarize it, it's like if we have 4 people in the studio, they bring 1 tune a week. It's like we have like 50 weeks a year, so it's like it's 1,600 tunes. And if we sign, let's say, 10% from that, as new artists, we have 16 new amazing artists. So it's very, it's efficient in a way, but I try to, of course, be open. But personally, I started as a DJ when I was super young, and I still do love DJing, and I look for music myself all the time. But I'm like Christian, let's say. I just rely on my own taste. Yeah. And I try to stay open, but obviously, usually you go on Beatport. But then what I'm doing now again, because I started, as a record salesman, I'm going through my old collection. I have about 15 to 20,000 vinyl, and I think I have this philosophy. Everything what was successful about 20 years ago is successful again. There's kind of a life circle, it's coming again. So what we're trying to do then is like to figure out what was like inspiring us like a long time ago, and then we know a lot of producers, so we kind of brief them with ideas and we try to let them produce what we want to have. Yeah. So that's A&Ring in my opinion. It's like where you really try to manipulate the process in your own favor.
It's almost farming in a way.
It's like producing a product. Yeah. And we would like to have control from the beginning, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, because then you own it as well.
How do you A&R? How do you select? How long does it take?
Yeah. So I'm getting some demos, of course. Not that much. It's a new label. But normally what I'm doing is I'm talking to the artist which was playing for me in the last 20 years. It's like a really long list. And I try to make a puzzle for each release, which I think will be really nice, accomplished for the original, which I found somewhere. So that's the way, I'm the promoter for a really long time. I know many artists. They respect me, they love me. They can do work for me, so that's the way I find my way to make really nice EPs, which complete from different areas. I'm not one scene or one something. So different sounds come from different people coming together. That's about, for me, make a label, not to sounds like a same genre. Every EP have at least 3 genres in it, like electronica, deep house, techno, blah, blah, blah. Every EP is different. So it's a nice accomplish for any EP.
One of the first challenges facing certainly a new label is how do you get your music to market? And there's lots of different routes now. As a producer, you don't even arguably need a label anymore. You can go to Bandcamp, you can deliver through SoundCloud or YouTube and monetize that way without really needing a label. How do you get your music to market? What distribution route do you use, and what impact has streaming had on your business model, Christian?
Business model, I mean, that sounds a bit posh. But at the end of the day, I started as a record label just doing vinyl. And then when vinyl wasn't sustainable anymore, we moved to digital. I still do 12 records a year, 12 vinyl releases a year, on which I normally lose a little bit money on, but it doesn't matter. As for digital, I have on all the digital shops, but let's face it, for house and techno, Beatport controls 80 to 90% of the market share. So Beatport has become my single most important income revenue for MP3 sales. as TRONIC has become fairly successful in the last few years, we have a lot of subscribers on Beatport, which means if you're a fan of an artist or label, you just tick on a box, and as soon as they have a new release out, you get informed once you go on the website. So we have, I don't know, like 30,000 followers. This helps a lot. And as we tend to do fairly well in the sales, Beatport tends to treat us quite well and giving us banners on the front page or the techno page or whatever it is, and this tends to help the sales as well. With regards to Spotify, I was at ADE a couple of months ago with my label manager, and we said, we need to do this, we need to start monetizing Spotify, but I've been disorganized, we haven't done anything yet, to be honest. The music is on Spotify. Yes, we make a little close to nothing, but we're going to start. I have a weekly radio show, TRONIC Radio, and I'm going to start putting that onto Spotify and using another intermediary company to do license agreements to be able to have complete mixes on Spotify.
Yeah,
that's something I'm looking forward to doing.
And which distribution company do you use to deliver to stores?
We do Beatport direct, and for the rest we use Labelworks.
Yeah. Okay.
And one other thing, actually, speaking of income, I mean, actually it's not positive income, it's more negative income. I've been focusing a lot on... because I've been doing lots of album projects. And let's face it, you know, the album for electronic music, I should say underground techno artists, it doesn't really break even anymore and barely has any relevance. But I still like to release albums on my label because it forces the artists to produce music a little bit outside the box, outside the artist's comfort zone. And I think it's really important for any artist to produce albums, to evolve as an artist, because I see so many artists, you know, in-house and in techno, some which are very successful, actually on top of the game, doing the same shit over and over for decades already. I mean, like, I think when I started this business, it was about moving forward, being impressed, being overwhelmed, and then I see these guys do the same thing every week, and they're getting paid lots of money. But this is not what I want to do with TRONIC. So I try to have artists develop, even if the albums don't sell well, and they don't, which is crazy. You know, if you think about it, you do a normal compilation, a various artist compilation, they do better than an artist album. You know, people choose to buy one, maximum 2 tracks of a 12, 14 track album, and even though the album might be really good with all proper tracks, they just don't buy more. Yeah. So it's a sinking ship.
Yeah, but I mean, sorry, but I mean, the times when albums have been created, you know better than we do, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Were the times where you only had like real artists who got through all the different steps to be allowed to release an album on a good label. Nowadays, everybody can put out music. So that's where all the white noise is coming from.
Yes, but if you think about it, I mean, like, which which house and techno labels release albums? They don't do it because they don't make money anymore. So
no,
therefore, I still do it because I want to challenge the artists.
You don't get good albums because nobody knows how to produce a good album.
If you have a good, no, but if you have a good,
no, I agree.
If you have a good artist with a well-rounded artist, that artist should be able to create an album.
But we are talking about DJs; they are not artists.
Okay, then I disagree with you. Then I disagree with you.
No, but okay.
So I have a label to release artistic people. If you want to release DJs, that's your thing.
Yeah, no, but I think in general, it's like, you know, you have 30,000 releases per week on Beatport. 30,000 per week, which is like 120,000 a month, which is like 1.4 something million a year. And like, let's say 2% of them are really good on like a long-term basis. You remember them, let's say, in 5 years. And nothing against them, it's cool, but they are not artists in a way. When artists produce albums, the album format comes from a time where you had vinyl, LPs, and then you had CDs. And the people were just producing 70 minutes of music because it wasn't able to fit 80 minutes of music on his format because it only took 70 minutes. That's where the format is coming from. And still the media is writing more about an album than about a single. And that's why labels or artists or DJs still think they have to produce an album, in my opinion, in this DJ world, because we are talking electronic music here, to get better promotion, more impact, better bookings.
You're absolutely right. In terms of PR, I totally agree with you. If you just release singles, you barely stand a chance to get any attention from Mix Mag, DJ Mag, whatever they are called. If you have an album, they're going to talk to you. You're very right about that.
So, Renat, are you only an artist if you can make an album?
First of all, Jesus Christ. There's not many. First of all, we live in a single market now, so forget the album concept. It doesn't exist anymore. A DJ who makes an album, are you fucking kidding me? What is he gonna do? You know, no, that's exactly same thing. So the concept of an album is something not to take lightly. There's only a few that can make an album. Not selling is nonsense too. Lone makes albums, I don't even like it, but sells 30,000 albums with basically no promotion. Niels Fram, Nicolas Jarre, you know, the Sace album from Niels Fram sold nearly 300,000 albums. Nicolas is selling 100,000 and plus. Of course, we go back to the first, what we started with, you know, when you have a real artist and can make an album, it's touring, it's like in the old days, it's the same thing. So yes, albums can sell, but we have too much crap. So, too much crap, DJ X. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Do you think you can still have a dance music album, or is the album dead?
For dance music?
It depends on the album, it depends on the music.
On a pure dance album? No way.
It depends on the music, of course.
All right, so here's a question, just off the cuff.
Everybody can pay for the biggest PR company.
No. I don't believe in good dance albums. I really don't believe in that. I don't believe.
It's all about money, about the PR. But then you choose if you can invest in that. If you want to invest in that. If it's worth it.
Man, I can tell you a story.
You know, for my EPs,
where I lost millions on PR.
I know.
Jesus fucking Christ. I didn't sell one copy.
I give you a speak now.
Yeah, okay. I sold my house, my dogs, fucking everything.
I didn't sell anything. I grew my 3 kids and everything. And I choose for every release which PR I gonna use, you know?
No, of course, that's
sometimes
something else.
Sometimes it's MP3, sometimes it's nothing.
But it has
sometimes it's listen up.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with money.
It depends what I release. I think about that music, how much I believe in that release, you know?
But can you
if I believe in that, so I can, PayPal, £500, for nothing.
But
for some guy that put it on BBC.
But that's singles. That's singles and EPs.
But
could a dance music artist make a 12-track album and make a creative, commercially successful album?
So you need to invest in that, of course. If you have no money to invest and you don't want to invest, you think it will success by itself.
Question for everyone.
Not going to happen.
Question for everyone. Best album in the last year. Next question. Best album in the last year. Thank you. Next, best album in the last year.
We had 3 of them.
No, but your best album in the last year.
Jaswell Circles.
Did you release it?
Yes.
Great. Best album of the last year.
I didn't release any album yet on Beat Boutique.
Yeah. So no, but your best album. Personally, your choice, your best album.
My best album.
Yeah, the one you love the most.
Actually, I didn't listen to any. For 2 years ago, it was.
No, but I have a question, Renat. You released tons of DJ albums as well on Arnest.
In a time where it did make sense. Yeah. Now I'm not doing it. Give me Lone. Is it DJ material? Not really. I don't know what it is. To be very honest.
No, but I have a question. When you release these more...
A.F.E.M, is that a dance album?
Definitely not. And that was that was one of the defining moments of your label. So let's not use that one. But like,
was Cole Craig, Model 500 a dance album?
Dave
Absolutely
Angel?
not.
Dave Angel?
Dave Angel was one. That's why it's not selling now.
Oh my God.
No, but it's true. Come on, what do you...
But it's true. I feel like we're hitting at probably an ill-defined raw nerve of dance music, which is that I'm sure when we were cutting our teeth as fans of the music and employees in the industry, we talked about albums, we listened to albums, we played albums. It could be Orb, it could be Orbital, it could be whoever. Along the way, A.F.E.M, there would have been albums you would have put on play, and then 60 minutes later or 90 minutes they finished, and then you'd listen to them the next day. When was the last time anyone listened to an album from start to finish?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Were they dance music albums?
No.
Yes, Massive Attack if you...
But when was it made?
Huh?
When was it made?
Good question. I think in 1997.
Okay. When was yours made?
1984.
Wow.
When was yours made?
Prince Purple
It
Rain.
probably was made yesterday. I was on Bandcamp listening to sort of electronic ambient album.
There you go. And yourself, when was the last time you pressed play and didn't stop till the end of an album?
It was a Sasha album, the old one, a few weeks ago.
Ah, so
I'm not a big fan. Yeah, everybody was talking about that. It was okay.
Let's veer off a little bit, because out of the 4 label heads in the panel, 2 people said they listened to an album and it was an album that was 20 years old. Yeah. So is that a problem that we're facing, or is it just how we are and that's how things are? Is that forget albums, dance music is now just singles, go?
Exactly.
Good, very good question. No,
No,
interesting question.
Very good question, and you answered it by yourself. However, I mean,
Maybe we're not
but these days to get attention for artists to get attention by the media is close to impossible unless you have a special project. How can you get a special project? A mix CD? No, nobody cares. A single? No, nobody cares. Album? Yes, they listen.
Yes. But maybe we're not good for the statistics, you know.
So it's all
We're
algorithms.
not the right people to make statistics.
You know,
It depends the album. If the album is good, no, hold on. I have a serious question. Define dance music.
I think it
Hold on.
depends.
Rolling quickly.
It depends on the time, you know. When Massive Attack started, they just did it, and they're there forever, I guess. And every time I try to go to every concert, like when they're like 500 kilometers away, I still try to go there. Still, I'm the biggest fan, and I think it depends on the time, and that's a good thing about our business, because usually we own the worldwide rights for lifetime. So whatever. If you love something now and you make losses, you invest into it, you think it's worth doing an album, just do it. And then you have a single which is like successful on Spotify as well. Great. But I mean, how much do you invest?
I'm a bit confused here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go.
No, really, because I'm listening to you, because Massive Attack, Orbital, all those guys, Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, they went pop. These were contemporary pop
They
acts.
crossed over.
It's pop. You're crossing over. It's pop. It's lyrics. It's songwriting. It's pop. It's contemporary pop.
A moderator interference. I do not believe Massive Attack sat in the studio designing a pop album.
I didn't say that.
So they didn't go pop. The music crossed over.
They reached enough people. They reached enough
Pop is
people
not
who
a
liked
dirty, a
it.
dirty word.
Yeah, but it's intent. There's a difference between murder and manslaughter. One of them's an accident. One of them's on purpose.
Oh, pop means popular.
They didn't try to make underground music.
What, Massive Attack didn't start off to make underground music?
Yes.
They could have gone way more underground, way more dubby, less commercial. Definitely.
They started
Definitely.
for somewhere.
Get my phone out. Hold on.
When we get to know them, it was something else. Huh?
Interesting. So, I have no idea where I'm going to go with this. Renard, back to you.
It's pop music. And the thing is, pop music is music that becomes popular. Did they went into a studio to make a pop album? No, but we're 15 or 20 years later now. Give me, where is Massive Attack? Where's Prodigy? Where's the next Chemical Brothers? Where's the next Orbital? Where's blah 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 blah? All those great guys. In 20 years, there is nothing. You have EPs. That's it.
That's fair.
And I'm wondering, when you release, how many EPs per week?
One.
It's 4 EPs a month, and then 3 albums or per month.
No, one album per month.
But that's only on one label.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you deal with that? No, I'm wondering, I want to learn, how do you deal with that? Yes, but okay, no, that doesn't, no, come on.
No, but let's but no, I think Renat's making...
No, but
Renat, I think you're making a really interesting point.
Give you a good answer.
Yeah, I want to have a good answer.
Go.
The thing is, we have our fan base, a very huge fan base. And, we have our own radio stations, so to say, which are playing our weekly radio show. We reach our fans and they're interested in our content. So I think the majority of our effort goes into satisfying these fans and you're trying to extend the fan base. And then, of course, we do media, but we only promote one out of these 4 singles as focus singles. So like him, 12 singles a year. But I'm not concentrating on 12 vinyls, I'm concentrating on 12 Spotify singles now. So, that's the difference. And I inform my distributor like 8 weeks ahead. And the metadata is there and everything, so they know what to pitch. Otherwise, how do you cut through the shit? And these 12 are like the potential ones who are making the money for the other things which we really love. The vinyls, where we make losses, of course, and all this stuff. Yeah. And the other 3 are DJ material. Sorry to say it, and yes, it's live. The lifetime circle is very short, but hey, DJs need material, and they like the sound we pick.
Okay, but that answers my question, because I see Ninja. I'm on the mailing list of Ninja too, and I have every day 3 albums and 25 singles. And how do you deal with that? How can a record company deal and market and take care of an artist? This is my big question. A&R are different. Is a guy? Is it different? Does it stand out from the market? Whether I like it or not, I'm not interested. As long as it shocks people. 1, 2. Does he has a mileage to go into an album? Maybe, question mark.
But that's the digital transformation of the music industry. Is if you go back to the 80s, you could sign 500 albums, release them all to market, and 10% would succeed, and you could still cover the losses on the other, because
Correct.
everything was on a CD and everyone was paying 10 to 20 euros.
Correct.
So it didn't matter how much shit was on that CD, you still got 10 to 20 euros. Now, you can do the same work and lose your pants, your house, your wife, your car, everything, because people can pick the tracks they like and ditch the crap. And is that the single biggest transformation that's affected all of your businesses, is that you can't risk your house on an album because people will decide if 11 tracks are shit and 1 is good.
Correct, and thank God. I'm very happy we went that way, because we're back, so many years ago, where, in classical music, it had to be experienced live, in an amphitheater or whatever. So the performers, classical composer, they had to perform. Beethoven or whatever, they had to perform. So we're back to that stage. So you filter, there's where you filter real artists. Forget dance music for a while, because, putting a track out and it goes.
All right, I've got a closing question then, which is just random. No, this is the closing question. Is dance music the new classical music?
Never. Of course not.
Because if we follow Renat's logic that classical music was designed to experience live, the conductor is the DJ, and there's no way dance music is designed to listen to over breakfast.
Yeah, but hold on. I mean, there is a difference. Dance music is functional music. It's DJ material. It's working material. You play it in a club, people dance. End of story. Out of all those millions of dance tracks, you might have a hit. Whatever. It happens. But there is another line. Look at Warp. They're doing very well, like with the Mount Kimbeys. They're selling 50,000 Mount Kimbeys. Not much promotion. Guys going out live. It goes much more into an indie market, the sort of electronic indie market. So now you can tell me, yeah, but you cannot play this shit. And this is where do we draw the line of dance music? I'm saying, yes, you can play it. So for me, there is a difference. Can albums sell? Yes, they can. If you have an artist that can perform and that people believe. Okay. And you will.
Yeah. So the summary of that, I think, is it's very hard for a DJ producer to sell an album. It's easier for an artist to sell an album, but even then, the audience will sift the shit. Because you're never going to sell a whole album. You're going to release albums and sell tracks.
Yeah, but this DJ is making a track in 3 minutes. He puts his computer on, you go to the toilet, comes back, here is the master. That's how it happens. No, really, come on, I'm exaggerating, but it's true. You know it's true.
Roland,
Come on,
your thoughts?
don't,
Because we're
please.
going to finish in a minute.
No,
so
we
we're
should.
gonna wrap up.
It's interesting.
It's very
we
funny.
have time. It's
More
okay.
Vodka.
Vodka, yes. But if you look at the career of John Hopkins, you know, this guy's been working 15 years or 12 years. You know, he's a musician. He made pop albums. They flopped. And he made one of the best electronic albums in the last 5 years. No?
It's a combination of a million of things. Technology is just like changing every time. The consumer behavior is changing all the time. If to sum it up, this discussion is, you know, it was when I started as a product manager at Ministry of Sound, it was 1 killer, 10 fillers. Now it's like killers only, no more fillers. That's why singles are so successful or not. But you know, if you are talking about like, is classical music comparable to what we are doing? I don't know. I think what we are like, why dance music is so successful and growing all the time is like because it's touching our more, you know, basic feelings where we're coming from. You know, yeah, going back to this, you know, where we, you know, dancing around a big fire like in Africa and wherever. And no, honestly, and I think the more we connect with technology, the more we need it. And it's an amazing thing. And no matter how much you like somebody in a business or not, it doesn't matter because it brings together people from all over the world. We don't have to speak Hebrew, Arabic, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter because you dance together and you have a great time. You meet somebody and you meet him on the dance floor or her and you love her. And then, you know, maybe in 30 years you remember this moment and it makes you happy. It connects people and it's better than politics and whatever. And that's why it's so great.
Perfect closing note. Thanks.